Now, this is where students typically have some problems. I don't know why, when they are being asked to actually convert a certain number or to round a certain number to, let's say, 2 significant figures or 3 significant digits, and that is where they sometimes they get stuck. But the concept is very, very simple, so it is just worth going over this very, very quickly, so that if you have a numerical based on this, you can easily score marks in that numerical. So here is the simple problem. Okay, so we have a measurement. Now this measurement that we have done came out to be like this. Okay, so we used a very, very accurate, maybe like a laser apparatus to do this measurement. Now later on it so happened that we found out that our laser apparatus had some problems and the measurement is not actually quite as accurate as we thought. So we are saying now we are now trying to round this off, reduce the number of significant figures in this measurement to correctly reflect the accuracy of our apparatus. So when we are being asked, let's say, to round this off, round this number, this measurement to 4 significant figures. What does it mean? It means that after the rounding has happened, there will be only 4 significant digits, 4 significant figures in my number. That is what it means. So if you start counting the number of significant figures in this number, in the original measurement, how many did we have? So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the rules of counting the significant figures come into play here, and there is a separate class on that. So definitely go through that class. Without it, you looking at this class is useless. But if you know the rules, there are 6 significant figures here and we want only 4. So we start and we count the digits. So we want the number to be rounded off till here. That is our ultimate objective. Now the rules of rounding we'll go through in a second, but they are simple. All they are saying is that this is the last digit I want to keep after rounding. So I look at the next digit. What about the next digit? The next digit is clearly less than 5. So I can simply truncate. So all I have to do is that I have to remove this section and this becomes my number or measurement rounded off to 4 significant figures. And of course, I should not forget the unit here. So it is still in centimeter. That hasn't really changed. Now, what about if I wanted to round this same measurement to 3 significant figures? In that case, what we need to do? We need to start counting from this side. So we'll see that I want to round off till this digit. So I want only that last digit to be the one which I have shown an arrow. So that should be my last digit after rounding off. So for that, I look at the next digit. The next digit is 9, which is greater than 5. So all I need to do is that I need to increment this digit, the digit that we want to keep, by +1. I want to increment it. So this becomes 158. And of course, there is no need to put a decimal point, nothing afterwards after 158, because these are the 3 significant figures and they clearly denote my measurement, my new measurement, the accuracy of my new measurement. So it's worth going over the rules of zeros before we go on to the next section. See, the zeros here, this is just for decoration, and these zeros are always insignificant. So in this number, okay, these zeros are ambiguous and therefore they are also always insignificant. And the rules, again, look at the class. Why I am saying certain zeros are insignificant, certain zeros are significant, there is a detailed class on that. Okay, these zeros are always insignificant, they are never taken into account. But if I put a decimal point, I want it to have these zeros. I have measured all of these zeros, and in that case, these zeros, all of them, they become significant. In this case, the zeros before the first non-zero digit, if there are any zeros before it, they always become insignificant. So those were the rules. We just went over those. Now if you know how to round numbers, if you are very comfortable with that, then you can skip this little section that we are doing and straight away to the next section where we'll deal with the numericals. We'll look at some numericals. But if you are not so comfortable with rounding, then just stick around. If you have some confusion there, we'll try to round off using the step-by-step process. So this is the number that we are using, 157.923. So we'll be using the same number again 157.923. That is the number that I am using again, okay, and we are trying to round it off to, let's say, 4 significant figures. So these are the 4 significant figures we would like to keep, and other significant figures we would like to reject. The most significant digit is the leftmost digit not counting. So all we are saying is that this is my most significant digit. Okay, so first thing we determine when we are trying to round off a number to insignificant figures is that we determine our most significant digit. So this is the most significant digit. It is the first non-zero digit starting from the left hand side. What about the nth digit? This is my nth, in this case the fourth significant digit. So this is the fourth significant digit. Okay, in your case, if you have to take fifth, you will take the next one, so on and so forth. So this is the fourth significant digit. And what the digit which is very important in case of rounding is actually this digit. This is the digit, or the n plus 1th digit, or the fifth digit significant digit. That is what the rounding is based on. So rounding is based on the fourth digit, the nth digit, and the fifth digit. Okay, that is why we have to take both of those into account. Okay, so I am just solving an example and explaining everything which has been written here. Okay, everything that has been written here in terms of general nth digit, I am translating that into specifically we are interested in the 4th digit. We are rounding this number off to 4 significant digits, and that is why I am specifically giving you an example with n equal to 4. Okay, so that is what this is. Now, what this rule is saying is that if the first non-significant digit is less than 5, so this is my first non-significant digit. This is the digit I want to really get rid of. So this is the first non-significant digit, the 2 right here. If it is less than 5, then the least significant digit remains unseen. Then I don't really change this. This is what the first rule is saying. Then the next rule is saying that if this digit, this 2, the first digit that we will be throwing off, if that digit is actually greater than 5, then my significant digit that I want to really keep, I increment it by 1. I increase it by 1. And if necessary, I'll have to increment the other digits as well. So for example, in this case, if let's say that this number was 157.993, okay, and I want to round it off to 4 digits, then what would happen? These 4 digits I want to keep. So I look at the next digit. It is 9. So this digit has to be incremented. Now because this digit has to be incremented, this will become 10 and 1 will be carried over. And this will become 158.0. Okay, so this 0 is actually significant. It is important that we keep it there. Why is that? Because that is part of my significant figures. Okay, that 0 is significant in some ways. So this is what this rule is saying. Not this one, but this is what this rule is saying, the second one. The third rule, this rule is saying what happens if this digit, the first digit that I want to throw off, is actually a 5. So if my number was, let's say, 157.853 and I am rounding to 4 significant figures, and the first digit I want to throw is actually a 5. What happens in that case? In that case, the rule is very, very simple. You look at this number and you try to make it even. Okay, you try to make it even. In this case, since it's already even, we don't do anything. In the other case, let's say that if the number was 157.753 and we are rounding to 4, in that case, I would increment this number and make it even. Okay, so the rule for if the first digit we are throwing off is 5, if the digit here is 5, then this number is incremented if it is odd and left as it is if it is even. So that is the rule. That is the odd even rule. Okay, and in both the cases, my final answer would come out to be 157.8. And the reason for making things even is because we like even numbers more for whatever reason, but we like them more. Okay, so those are the rules, and we will just stick to. And the last one is of course trivial, that all the other digits are actually thrown away. Okay, we don't, non-significant digits, after we have done the rounding, we can throw these away. Okay, so these digits are actually gone. They are only there until the rounding has happened. After that, they are gone, and we are left with the 4 significant figures in each case as we wanted. All the tools that we need to solve these problems. So let's just get started. So here I have been given a number which I need to round, and these are the number of significant digits which should be present after the rounding has happened. Excuse me, after the rounding has actually happened. So here, to begin with, I have 5 significant digits. After rounding, I want only 3. These first 3 digits to be present. So I look at the first digit that I am going to throw off, the 1 right here, and because it is less than 5, I can simply truncate the number, and my number becomes, I can simply throw these away, and my final answer becomes 34.2, which indeed has 3 significant figures or 3 significant digits. Let's look at the next problem. Here I want to round this number off to only 2 significant figures. I want to keep only these 2. These numbers I want to really throw away, starting from 5 right here. So I look at this 5, and because it's 5, I either need to increment the digit preceding it, or I don't increment, based on whether it's odd or even. Because the number preceding this 5 is actually an even number, we don't increment it. So we keep the number 2.2 as is, and this 5.2 is actually just thrown away. Now, if on the other hand, our number was 2.352, in that case, what would happen? And we wanted to round it off to 2.3 only. We wanted only two significant digits. Then we look at this 5 and we see that we have a 3 here. Because we have a 3 here, it's an odd number. Therefore, we would actually increment it, and this will become, after rounding, this will become 2.4. So now we move on to the next problem. There we want to keep 3 significant figures. So I only want to keep these 3 digits. I look at the next digit, I see that it's a 9. So this 9 has to be incremented, because when it's incremented, there is a carryover. And then because from here also, when it's incremented, then there is a carryover. So my final answer becomes 40.0. This 0 here, note, is important. We have to write that 0 there, because it denotes that 0 is actually significant. And only because of that 0 there, I have 3 significant figures here, which I really wanted. Now, in this case, I want to round this off, the next number, to 3 significant figures. Initially, starting off, I can see that I have 5 significant figures. I only want to keep the first 3. So I want to make these 2 significant figures, these two to 0. That is what I want. So these first 3 numbers I want to keep. We look at the first number that I intend to reject, which is 8 right here. Because there is an 8, I need to increment this 3, and this becomes 854. And notice that these trailing zeros are actually not significant, because there is no decimal point there. In that number, there is no decimal point. Therefore, these 3 zeros are insignificant, and I only have these 3 significant digits right there. Now, in the next problem, you have to first determine the number of significant figures we have to begin with. How many significant figures do we have? Note that these leading zeros, before my first non-zero digit, this 4 is my first non-zero digit, these 2 leading zeros are actually not significant. They are not significant. I only have 4 significant figures here, and I want to round it off to only 3. So I want to keep only these 3. These 3 significant figures are the only 3 I want to keep. So what do? I look at the digit after 9. Okay, the first digit I am going to throw off, which is 7. Because it's a 7, I increment 9. Now when I increment 9, at that point, I realize that there will be a carryover. So this 5 will become a 6, and that 9 will become a 0. Okay, and this 7 is actually rejected. It is something that I really don't want anymore. That digit is being thrown away, and I only have 3 significant figures left. Okay, so that was last question. We really needed to determine the number of significant figures we have to begin with. Now in the next class, we'll determine a better method of doing this rounding off to significant figures using scientific notation, and that is the method that we are going to use forever in solving all the numericals. We'll just convert the numbers to scientific notation, and then we will do the rounding to as many significant digits as we need. So do subscribe, because that method is less prone to mistakes and we should follow that method. Thank you.